The 2023 NFL offseason is almost underway, and the free agent wide receiver class has a good mix of proven vets and young and up-and-coming players looking to cash in on their first big payday. There's also a bunch of different skill sets among this year's wideouts, whether you're a team looking to add a guy who is fast and can stretch the field like McCole Hardman, or an aging vet like Adam Thielen, who was recently released by the Minnesota Vikings. But I don't want to stretch this intro out too long, so let's get into it. DJ Chark is an interesting player because he has all the tools to be a consistent force on the offensive side of the ball. But Chark hasn't had a 1,000-yard season since 2019, which is starting to look more and more like an outlier. But DJ only saw 52 targets this last season, and in 2023, he needs more of a share of the offense. For this reason, I do expect Chark to leave Detroit after signing a one-year deal last offseason. As for a landing spot for Chark, a nice place could be the New England Patriots. With the possibility of Jacoby Myers leaving in free agency, the Pats will have to address an already thin wide receiver room, but landing Chark to a 2 or 3 year deal would fill at least one of those holes. DJ would also be able to develop with quarterback Mac Jones, as he will only be 27 years old at the start of the 2023 NFL season. Next is Juju SmithSchuster, and Juju is one of the most polarizing players in the entire NFL. He is often talked about more from how he's making TikToks, but Juju is a good football player, and he's coming off a 78-catch, 933-yard season in 2023 with Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. This was his best season since all the way back in 2018 with the Steelers. While it's probably pretty difficult to not have a good season with Andy Reid as your coach, Casey does seem like a great fit for Juju and for the team as well. I would be very surprised if Juju voluntarily leaves Kansas City this offseason. As for a landing spot for Juju, Allen Lazard is next, and Allen is coming off an age 27 season where he caught 60 balls for 788 yards. Every year, Lazard has been more productive than the last. The 2022 season proved Allen can take a larger role in the offense and still be just as efficient. It will be interesting to see what Lazard prioritizes this offseason. It also feels like where Aaron Rodgers decides to play next year will play a role in where Allen signs his next contract. If Rodgers comes back to Detroit, I think there's a high chance that the Pack figures out a way to keep Lazard on the roster. As for a landing spot, if Aaron Rodgers does decide to leave the Green Bay Packers, then I would love for Houston to go get a receiver like Allen Lazard for whatever quarterback they inevitably draft this April. Adding Lazard to a receivers room that already has Brandon Cooks there would make a young quarterback's jump from college to the NFL much easier. Jacoby Myers is next, and Jacoby's 2022 NFL season will be remembered by one play. That play is a backwards pass to Chandler Jones that he basically threw away the Week 15 game to the Las Vegas Raiders. But Jacoby finished his age 26 season with 67 catches for 804 yards. While he did take a step back in the number of catches over last season, Myers saw 30 less targets than in 2021, and it was no secret that the New England offense as a whole showed a few cracks last season. I do expect Jacoby to get out of Foxborough this offseason and find himself a nice contract and a better situation on the field. A nice landing spot for Jacoby would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh has a second-year quarterback in Kenny Pickett, and adding a reliable target like Myers to a young offense would give Kenny Pickett another weapon alongside Deontay Johnson. After trading away Chase Claypool for the 32nd overall pick in this year's draft, the Steelers have a hole in the receivers room that could be filled with the signing of Myers, paired with the young duo of previously mentioned Johnson and George Pickens. Adam Thielen is my honorable mention. Thielen was recently released by the Minnesota Vikings and is going into his age 33 season, and I still think he can be pretty productive in the right offense. While Thielen will be 5 years removed from back-to-back 1,200-yard seasons in 2017 and 18, he still saw over 100 targets in 2023. I don't think Adam will ever hit the triple-digit targets again in his career, but I do still think he will be a very productive player in the twilight of his NFL career. This may be more of a hope than it is an actual realistic landing spot, but I think Adam Thielen will be a great fit alongside his old teammate Steph Diggs in Buffalo. The Bills have seriously missed a slot presence since Cole Beasley's prime years in Buffalo, and if the Bills can ink Thielen to a fairly team-friendly deal, I think it could be a match made in heaven. And for my number one spot, I do have Odell Beckham. Odell missed all the 2022 NFL season due to the knee injury he suffered in the Super Bowl. And he was one of the best free agent wideouts last year, and this time around it's much of the same for Odell. With a wide receiver free agent class that is fairly weak at the top, it was fairly easy for Beckham to rise to the top of the most coveted wide receivers that will be looking for a job this spring. There have also been recently videos of Odell working out and catching footballs, and he looks as smooth as ever. While now on the wrong side of 30, I still think Odell Beckham will be able to sign with a contending team and be a major contributor for the next few seasons. And while the Bears are not a contending team, I did say in a recent video that the Bears should spend the 2023 NFL offseason giving Justin Fields legitimate NFL weapons, and signing Odell Beckham would be a great 1-2 punch with DJ Moore. Rumors around the league also suggest that Odell is looking for something north of $20 million per year, and Chicago does have the most amount of money available of any team this offseason. Overall, this free agent wide receiver class has a lot of interesting players that are going to provide a lot of value for teams this season. Outside of Odell, there really isn't any huge market players, but guys like Jacoby Myers and Juju could have just as big of an impact on this upcoming season as anyone else in the league. That is all for this one. Let me know if you agreed with the top 5, and if you didn't, let me know who else you would have had on this list.